What's going on, everybody? It's your guy Psychedelic here, dropping in for another video on the DAG and DeFi YouTube channel. If you're new here, guys, just to give you a quick introduction, on this channel we cover all the hottest topics when it comes to the Constellation ecosystem, or more widely known as the DAG ecosystem, and also the best and newest, most lucrative trends in the DeFi sector, including passive income. So welcome today to the video. Today we're going to be covering a super exciting project that is building on the DAG ecosystem on the HyperGraph network called Alkimi Exchange. Now, Alchemy Exchange is a decentralized replacement to the inefficient legacy programmatic ad exchanges with a mission to restore the value exchange between advertisers, publishers, and users. So, in a nutshell, Alchemy is a digital advertising exchange that is built on the blockchain. It's the first decentralized ad exchange that has ever existed. Now, the only reason this is now possible is because of Constellation, their hypergraph network. The hypergraph network is infinitely scalable, feeless transactional blockchain. What this means is that companies that process huge amounts of data do not need to pay a fee for every transaction. So a company like Alchemy that is an online ad exchange is going to be transacting insane amounts of data every single minute, tens of thousands of transactions. That would be impossible with a blockchain like Ethereum that charges gas fees. So this is the first time really where this kind of project has been able to be created, and it is extremely needed because the online digital advertising industry is completely out of balance. It's a huge industry, but it's broken and it's well in need of fixing. And the opportunity for Alchemy is massive. So let's start with talking about the problems that we have in the industry so we can really get an idea the value that Alchemy is going to be able to bring. So I guess the first thing we could look at is you can call it a duopoly, I suppose. Facebook and Google have over a 50% market share of online advertising. So, well, this is going to be by 2023, but it's about 52%, 53%, which is huge. They're controlling over half of the market for online advertising, which creates um, unfair advantages, if you will. They can, when businesses get this large, they generally get to price and decide and pretty much make the decisions for the rest of the market. Now, because of this, there have been many independent centralized advertising exchanges that have sprung up, but they have unfortunately made the issue a bit worse. I will jump back into that point shortly, but before we do that, let's jump over here and see the other issue. So the other issue is that ad fraud is a massive problem. Now, when you first hear that, you might think, well, what's ad fraud? How could there be digital ad fraud? Well, going back to the point I just said, these new or other centralized exchanges that have set up to try and provide other opportunities outside of Facebook and Google, they have made the problem a lot worse because one, they're centralized, they're essentially a closed book, and two, the fees that they're charging are where the ad fraud comes into play. So if you can imagine for a moment that an advertiser is spending money with a centralized exchange, where ad fraud comes in is these companies are charging advertisers for impressions, their click through rate, all that kind of stuff. But because the exchanges are centralized, what happens is they can, maybe not them, but they can work with bad actors that create bots that will interact with advertisers' adverts and create fake engagement. And obviously, these exchanges and these publishers, in a centralized manner, are charging advertisers for engagement. And there's no way that these advertisers can know whether this is legit or not because this is a centralized system. It's a closed book. they only get information on the advert's performance after the fact, and then they've already paid for it. So the only options they have is the duopoly or independent centralized exchanges where they have no visibility, and it's causing a big issue. And I'll tell you why. So just jumped over here to Alchemy's white paper. So essentially what they're saying is Google and Facebook are some of the largest consumers, creators, and sellers of data. Their advanced machine learning around their users' data has solidified their market share. Independent technology companies have successfully offered alternative solutions. So this is the centralized exchanges I'm talking about to help publishers generate revenue. However, they've exacerbated the issue by creating what has been labeled in the industry as an ad tech tax. So basically, every $5 spent by an advertiser, the publisher only received $2.55. So the exchange in the middle is somehow absorbing or losing over half of that money, which is ridiculous. So they're losing half of their money instantly in what has been called an ad tech tax. And again, this is because these centralized exchanges are a completely closed book. Essentially, some of this money is untraceable, which sounds ridiculous, but that's how it's going. They're saying here that 1/3 of the supply chain costs were completely untraceable, which is mad. But again, because it's centralized, there's no way of knowing. It's a closed book. The visibility is terrible, and publishers, advertisers are massively losing out because of this bottleneck. So we've identified the problem is a huge monopoly for two companies and ad fraud being a massive problem, and advertisers and publishers having no visibility of what is happening. So lots of money's being lost and lots of problems are happening. So what are Alchemy doing about this? What's the solution, and how are they going to provide this solution, and why is that going to make them valuable, and how valuable is that going to make them? So because Alchemy are building on the HyperGraph, they are going to be able to provide complete transaction, complete, what's the word? Complete transparency when it comes to transactional volume, advert performance, data, complete auditability of data. So any companies that are going to utilize this exchange are going to have instant and immutable trustless data to see how their adverts are performing, what clicks they're getting, where that's coming from. But not only that, they're going to be able to set their own parameters. So they'll be able to set parameters as to what they say is legitimate data. So they'll be able to cast out bad actors and incorrect engagement. So they will know what engagement is real and what engagement isn't, and they will only pay for the engagement that's real. So the big difference there is that they won't have visibility after the fact like they do with centralized exchanges. They will have visibility instantly, and they will only pay for what is actually legitimate. The other thing that they're doing is they're only going to be charging, I believe, about 1.5%. So let's scroll down here. Yeah, so they're just reconfirming that 49% of revenue on ad tech fees is lost, which is crazy. Let's have a look. Yeah, here we go. So on the Alchemy Exchange, there is going to be 1.5% buyer and 1.5% seller fees. So that is about 47% cheaper than the fees that current companies are paying for centralized exchanges. And they're going to be getting a far superior product within that. So what Alchemy is going to do is realign the value exchange between advertiser and publisher and exchange, because the advertiser is going to get visibility, the publisher is going to receive all the fees, and the exchange is going to earn their fees by providing the best value possible. Everybody's going to have visibility, everybody's going to know what's going on, and everyone's going to save money. But because of how valuable this is, Alchemy Exchange are going to earn potentially a lot of money, even by having lower fees, because they provide such a better product that businesses are going to absolutely flood over to them. If we quickly jump back here to this, so 2026 projected to be 876 billion. If Alchemy only take 1% of that, that's 8.7 billion in revenue. So let's have a look at the investing opportunity now, looking at that. So currently, Alchemy is only valued at $12.2 million. And they're entering a market that in 5 years' time, 4 years' time, is projected to be worth 876 billion. So if they take 1% of that, which, I mean, that shouldn't be hard for them, seeing as their product is incredibly superior to anything else on the market, they could easily have a market cap of over $4 to $5 billion in 4 to 5 years' time. Obviously, that's not financial advice. That is just looking at the facts and making a prediction. But right now, what I do know is, in my opinion, $12.2 million is criminally undervalued. The last thing I want to talk about is the utility. So the utility of the token. Why is it going to increase in price? So let's have a look. So if a company wants to have access, so if a publisher wants to access the exchange, they will have to buy the ads token. So every publisher that wants to come in will have to buy ads. So as this gains more and more adoption, more and more projects and companies are going to buy ads, which puts positive pressure on the price. Now, if they want to transact, the more transactional throughput they want, the more ads they're going to need. So if they're gaining lots and lots of business and they're a huge publisher, they're going to need more ads, which means they're going to buy more ads. Also, the more ads you buy, you save on fees, as you can see here. So it provides access to the exchange, it provides higher levels of bandwidth, and it provides discounted fees. So it has incredibly strong utility. It has an incredibly strong use case. It has the potential to disrupt an $800 billion industry by providing a much better option for every single person involved. So, in my opinion, I don't see any reason why this project can't become huge. But you must make your own opinion on that. I'm not a financial advisor. Please do just take this video as education purposes. I'll put all of the links to this in the description so you can see for yourself. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. Ads is one of the most exciting projects out there, criminally undervalued at 12 million. If you want to buy it, I believe you can buy it on KuCoin. But like I say, I'll get all of that down into the description. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And I'll see you back here for another video soon. All the best.